All right, I'm filming this at 3:11 p.m. on the 5th of February, or excuse me, 5th of March. I'm slowing it down, taking it down a notch. I'm wearing the glasses because of scrying in this time right now. I have a strong placement of Scorpio in my second house. I just want to. Usually, I'm all about the performance. I'm an entertainer. I've been an actor my whole life, and but I'm also a light worker. And so this is going to be that segment where we slow down and we do the important thing that we don't do, or that we don't, that we need to be more conscious of doing, which is speaking truth, freedom of expression, and inspiration. This is all part of the healing journey when it comes to the spiritual awakening into higher consciousness. How we interpret that on this channel is higher dimensional perception, because not everybody believes the same thing, but everybody has a human perception, and it's pretty much standard. So the systems I use are interchangeable with your beliefs. Doesn't matter who you are. So grab your coffee, and we're going to sit down. We're going to have a little bit of LightWorker Coffee talk. I don't know if I'm ripping that off. Someone let me know down in the comments if I'm ripping that concept off a little bit. LightWorker Coffee talk. I've never spoken openly about being a light worker, but I've been a light worker my entire life. And you'll get that from these videos. I'm going to try to keep it 30 minutes. Right now we're at 2:06. Here it goes. Okay, I was born a light worker. I'm not going to talk about all the details, but I was born in Southern California under some pretty extreme conditions. Some pretty extreme conditions that were concealed. Okay, so you're probably aware of that concept, being a light worker, how this sort of is a pattern where we have this truth about our stories, and for some strange reason it doesn't come to light, and we are sort of like raised to believe some other form of structure that exists. But there's not a person on this earth who would challenge me about my perceptual reality, exactly how my story goes. And so, yes, I was born psychic to some degree. And fast forward to my very first spiritual awakening was when I was in the third grade, where I broke through, I believe, into fifth dimensional perceptual consciousness. And so the story, I love the story. I was always intuitive, and my structures in my life were kind of like flexible. So being in the third grade, it was Catholic school, first year of Catholic school. I remember sitting there, and the teacher was talking about different parts of the world. She was talking about, she'd finished a story and slideshow about going to an Eastern country. I think it was Pakistan. I don't know. But we had the map of the world up, and then she had some examples of some stuff you can get from the store that were from other countries, international foods and stuff. The Perrier was in there. And I remember sitting right there in the middle of the room, looking straight ahead at the map and looking out the window, and in my mind realizing that everything has structure. There is someone who knows this information about how things exist and are created. The roads, I was looking out the window, the roads, the buildings. Somebody knows how all this stuff is created, being a third grader. And being in Catholic school, obviously the higher influence, somebody must know. But I remember sitting there in the class, and the teacher, so the kid asked something, and then the teacher, I just remember her saying, "I don't know." Now I'm not. The whole context was basically a young child understanding that everything has structure in the world, but that human perception, the teacher, adult human perception is limited. And I remember in that moment, this sense of fear came over my back and my shoulders, and I sat up in my chair. Let me sit down so I can center myself. I sat up in my chair, and my brow started to sweat. And I remember realizing this is not working. I remember realizing that nobody knows what they're talking about. Like, everybody is limited in their information, and people are lying about facts and they don't even know about it, right? This sort of sense of being awake. And so that was my very first awake section of my awakening that I could remember, that I could trace back. Um, and so, with 6 minutes, 14 seconds on the clock, so that was in third grade. And then so eventually I got moved around a lot as a kid. And then so I finally got relocated to the South San Francisco Bay Area, where synchronicity came into chance, and a I won from a raffle a free month of martial arts, and that was my opportunity. I had never experienced an opportunity that I actually had wanted to shoot for, and so I felt really good about this. Um, and so I was 11 years old, turning 12, and I remember going into the martial arts place, and they asked me why I wanted to do martial arts, what I wanted to get out of it, and I told them my exact words were somewhere along the lines of, I need discipline. And then their eyes got all big, and they're like, what? What do you mean? And I said, well, I feel like on the road that I'm going down, that I am going to get into trouble if I don't find discipline. And they looked at it, the instructors, the martial arts instructors, just looking at each other like, what the heck? We've never heard anything like this before. And my mother, who I can't give credit to any of my own intellect. I can't give her any credit, because she used to do my homework for me and not ever, she never helped me learn. She only did my homework for me as a child. I grew up with a learning disorder. So she's standing there all proud, that her son is a genius. that everybody's just tripped out. And so, okay, so that was the start. Martial arts was the start of how it really, really started for me, because in this martial arts academy were psychics and people who understood the integration of the mind, body, spirit integration. And they were pretty slick, because, I was young, I was a minor, and they couldn't just, introduce me to any kind of occult beliefs or nothing like that. So we used martial arts. It was the feeling I had growing up, or being 12 and 13, was everybody, this is just kind of like a way of putting it, everybody else started to vanish from my sight, from my awareness. Everybody's opinions no longer mattered, and the only opinions that mattered were the people that I connected with. And so that was my master. His name was Arash, and so he owns an academy. It used to be in Campbell, California. Now it's in Willow Glen, California. And so, along with him and an army of light workers who knew they were light workers back in the 90s, they helped train me to teach martial arts and various spiritual practices and practices of integration. And they used to put me to work. I used to get paid, by the way. I got a early, I got an early, like I said, I walked into this place not knowing anything. In a very short while, they offered me a job to teach because I was able to. They noticed I was able to teach myself everything, and I even taught myself how to do a backflip in 45 minutes when nobody else was available to teach me. So this learning curve just accelerated, and they took advantage of it, and they put me to work teaching martial arts, and then later on doing peer counseling with integration concepts and steps. Completely trained to do this sort of thing in group and one-on-one scenarios. 10 minutes 36 seconds on the clock. But yeah, eventually I outgrew the martial arts academy I was with, and then transferred over when my master opened up his own academy. So this was all like associated, and then we split off, and I ran half of his school. By the time I was 16 years old, I was running half of a martial arts academy, and so it wasn't like something that, psychic abilities wasn't something that necessarily a young man had control of. It wasn't really something that I was gunning for. It was just something I sort of like boasted every now and then, being able to predict things. And like I'd be the one sitting in the back of the car, and when the GPS went out, everybody kind of was always weirded out about the way I could just know things. And then when the GPS went out, they'd look at each other and then look at me, and without even saying anything, I'd be like, go left, and boom, we're there, or something along those lines, predicting earthquakes, like telepathic messages that never got sent over text that somebody received. It's weird, strange scenarios, telling people, hey, look, watch out for this. This is going to happen. Boom, we get to this scenario in this time and this date, and boom, this happens. It's just a never-ending list. And then there is the whole spooky side, the whole ghost and spiritual side, where I grew up, running down the hallway, being chased by ghosts, and then later on experiencing a lot of paranormal activity where I ended up gaining control over and learned some of my abilities to transmute energy that is both perceivably not mine, but when you pass through those gates, you realize that those are your energies. Food for thought. And coffee. So that's very important to understand when you're dealing with energies. We make contracts with these energies. We'll just change the subject a little bit to talk about that. So the fantasy part of all this, or the imagination part about all this, which is actually real and perceptual reality as you climb up in consciousness. At first it starts out with, I'm experiencing spiritual activity. But eventually, this spiritual activity starts to become structured and starts to become more of an awareness that it is you, that it's your energy, just like it's your psychology. In the end, it's very intense. It's a very intense experience to go through. It's very real. But it also has to do with your psychology, because your psychology is also made of this same energy and the same resonance. Where do you think your imagination comes from? This is how life manifests itself into reality, into your perceptual reality. That's what we're talking about now. So, dealing with energies and spirits that seem as if they aren't yours, but that they actually are yours, you need to know. I'll give you the example that I use on this channel. See, I allow certain contracts that I have rewritten over time to allow certain permissions, but protections for myself and my viewers, and to also gain resonance, or if you want to interpret into receiving power and protection from my resonance. And so the contracts, spiritual contracts, like I'm trying to explain here. One example is angel. Angel is my guardian angel, is my sister. And it's a contract between this energy and myself that Angel is allowed to be part of the example so that people can understand that they need to give themselves permissions, certain permissions to express themselves. Okay? This is all part of the awakening experience. If you're speaking or communicating with energies that feel like they are not yours, you need to get a hold of that. Okay? And it's up to you because they serve a purpose. In this case, Angel is allowed to exist as my sister because it serves a multidimensional purpose. She is made of Piscean energy. She's basically my counterpart. She's a shadow to my physical nature. I am Leo sun and Virgo moon, Virgo ascendant. And she is Piscean sun and she is Aquarian moon. Now, this energy is a contract, okay? It serves purpose personally through my dimensional perception, okay? I'm not going to get into the details, but it adds that element into my work so that you understand that this is perfectly fine as long as you are in control, centered and balanced in your awareness of exactly what these energies are and how we work with them. Okay? They are meant to teach us things at certain times in our development, but to think that they are going to lead you down a rabbit hole that where you could receive a rabbit is not where it's trying to send. See, spirits will do anything to get you to do what you need to do, what is in your best interest. And even if that means leaving everything behind, your spirit guide will want you to do that. This is how it works, okay? And so I hope that's clear enough. I hope that's a good enough example. There are other resonants that I use, but I think maybe moving on to another subject. If you have any questions, if you want me to speak on a certain subject or answer your question, I'd be happy to make another video and keep it going, because this is part of the therapy, working with each other and the collective, being honest with ourselves, humbling ourselves. See, when you get up there, your sense of embarrassment and humility change in your structures, in your fourth dynamic, what is meant to keep you embarrassed, what is meant to keep you humiliated. See, I had the fortunate experience of being on TV many times before there was even a YouTube. National TV and performing, on stage and on like ESPN2 and all that stuff. So there was many lower dimensional aspects of shedding embarrassment. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to be creative. I was also, stage actor all through high school. I've never lived a normal life. So I'm a Virgo moon, Virgo ascendant. So I am Virgo. I am the witch to people, and my energy is very strong. I spend a lot of time by my damn self. I try not to overwhelm people, with my energy. I'm an intuitive person. That's the most important thing to understand about my lifestyles. I'm 24/7 intuitive. There's some people that say, "Oh, I had a synchronicity," or I'm intuitive, and it's very true. But an intuitive lifestyle, as look up Carl Jung's interpretation of what an intuitive person is. The lifestyle and the mind frame, the psychology is much different. I move to a rhythm 24/7. I sleep like maybe 2 hours a night because my mind does not stop. They used to tell me I think too much as if it was a bad thing. Now I realize I'm a genius. I'm literally the smartest person I've ever known. I don't have to have like a book knowledge intelligence of the world or nothing like that, but I can get any answer I want, and that is genius. And so I use that ability to help people as much as I can. Not to forget that I am Leo though, so it kind of gets in the way every now and then, you know, bazing. Um, and but I have, like I said, I have strong strong Scorpio placements with Pluto and Mars in my second house. So yeah, there's no stopping. There's no stopping what comes out of this mouth and the truth that's going to come to fruition, and how this sort of impact, which I call triggering, because I trigger people, this kind of multidimensional triggering is the next step in what the world needs. So taking accountability and coming forward and relating with the collective is the best thing I could do, or the only thing I could do. And it's your responsibility too, in your own way. However you feel your authenticity, your creativity leads you down that path. Eventually, this is part of the healing journey. Um, and Yeah, so I've never lived a normal life. I've had a lot of things, everything taken away, and for a reason, to show me who I am and what I'm supposed to be doing. Because I wasn't allowed, technically, the universe did not allow me to live a normal life. So I've got to make the best of the light worker life that I am, that I have. It's a very lonely road, but that lonely road comes with a lot of benefits. You can do whatever you want. I am a clear light being. Okay, so now let's talk about light. Okay, so we're light workers. 222 on the clock. 2222. I'm a clear light being. Okay, so I'm not a white light being. I'm not a, I don't know, I don't know, yellow light. I don't know what all the other lights. I'm a clear light being. I don't. So basically, what that means is that I do not see you in any other light but clear. So I don't necessarily see auras, unless it's very, very specific. I do have an attachment to the blue light. The blue light is a spectrum of light I use in my work. But other than that, clear light is all light. So it interprets into my personality. I don't judge. I don't get stuck in negative thoughts. I don't feel any sort of attachment to any sort of part of my personality that might reflect itself on the outside exterior world. And I can make sense, of anybody's reality, to be honest with you. Clear light, yes. Okay, so and then the other thing I'll mention about, okay, so yeah, we're from other worlds. We're from other worlds. It's fine. You're healing everything in those realities. So, however that interprets into to your own life and your own journey, just understand that. Be aware of that. Every step of the journey is a dimension of healing. So, to heal yourself in this world is to also heal yourself in another world, and back and forth. That's how life came into existence. Is universe wanted to experience itself, and the only way it could was to mirror itself in the ways that it does, and it gave you that gift too. So you'll learn that, how to do that, how to control that, and you'll understand that's part of your magic. The magic is actually real, as long as you're grounded to the earth, coming back to the earth. So we're from different worlds, but we own resonance. We own resonance. Okay, we own resonance not only in each other, in our lineage, and in our community, but energetically we own resonance to interstellar energies, We own energy. We own resonance to earth energies. So I am an earth being, or they would call me an earth angel, or a far walker, or what do they call that in Japanese? Hononoko empath. Lots of titles, lots of crazy titles came up in my life, just not with the titles. But feel free to explore your resonance and find out what you are. I am a Garthan energy, both masculine, feminine, a Garthan. Okay, and I don't want to get too into that. It's getting more into the fantasy, but a Garthan surface resonance has been actively in the human collective human perception for over 35,000 years. So try to put that on a map. um, but there's all kinds of other details, and I don't need to get into it. And then there's past life. Now, I don't look at past life with 2601. I don't look at past lives as, oh, I was this person, but in the end, you can't really help but like talk about it that way. But the way I explain it through the human perceptual, structure, the way I explain it is the word resonance. Is that my okay? How do you explain this? Okay, so the resonance that is not a human, but all resonance that is attached to me that goes back in time. How do you explain this? I'm trying to explain it to myself so many times. Oh God. How do you explain it? Okay, so it's not a life like a past life. It's a resonance. It's like a spreading out, and both at the same time a reversal or singularity of different energies that have its own energetic personality, and then when it becomes singular, it becomes becomes part of who you are. And when you shed all that nonsense that humans tend to collect in their own psychology, then you have resonance. So certain parts of your resonance will come out when you speak, or you're authentic in your personality. Which has everything to do with your astrology, but also has to do with your worldly or interstellar high dimensional resonance. It's just like it's a spaghetti bowl of spaghetti strings. You get to pull it out. It's a lot of fun. 2740. So my past life. So this is where resonance comes into play. This might apply to you. So it probably will apply to you. So if you feel as if you are a very powerful person in this life and you can do anything, but you're not really like you don't really you don't really stand out as that person that you feel on the inside. It's probably because the person you were in the last life accomplished a lot. so my past resonance, the person that whoever my energy is attached to, and I'm sure many people are attached to the same resonance. It's not like I was just this one person or nothing. It's not the way life works. I don't believe anyways. I don't believe in anything. This person was very famous, okay, which explains a lot of my personality. And you can see, I'm not going to talk about this person, but you can see this person in my eyes and in my smile when I smile. And so a lot of people think that they know me, and I'm very famous, or that I'm something. Do I know you? I'm familiar. So not famous, familiar. And my persona doesn't really have a problem syncing in with popularity and being famous. But I'm also a shadow worker, so I don't, it's not like I'm under the delusion or something like that. It's part of my personality, my resonant personality, to be, just to absorb resonance. It's hard to explain. When you refine the ego, you feel free about it. It's not so much thinking that you're above other people. It's knowing that other people are just as strong and as powerful as you are. 2932, wrap it up. So yeah, so that interprets into the ability, because as other people are out there resonating, so in society we lift people up, right? We lift people up and we make them immortal, all the way up to creating religions and whatnot, and famous people, you know, and you understand that there's a whole hidden shadow aspect to that, right? And I kind of want to just sort of end it there on a mystery, as far as talking about past lives. But that was Lightworker Talk, and here on the Crosswatcher channel, just trying to be open and vulnerable in the way that lightworkers need to be in order to see ourselves into that next step of the awakening and come together in unity consciousness, in a higher dimensional perspective and functionality of living and loving. Thank you. Namaste. My name's Ryan. You've been watching Crosswatcher. I'll catch you guys later.